Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 20. I'm your host, Kyle Jones, alongside our director of golf, Stefan Moffitt. Steph, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. Glad to be here.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to this side of the camera, and welcome to Between the Swings.
Thank you. Look to have fun.
This week, we are wrapping up a Super Bowl weekend, a Waste Management Open weekend. It's something we as operators and golfers look forward to the entire year. It's a fun one. It's exciting. Tell me, you as the director of golf, someone who's running the golf operations here in Phoenix, Arizona, where 500,000 people go nuts for the game of golf in 1 week. What does this week mean to you?
Oh, it's big. The energy is crazy. It goes from just your normal, I'm playing every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, to you're getting people from all over the country coming in. I mean, we had guys North, South Dakota. We had guys from New York and Wisconsin a lot of the times, of just out here to have a boys trip. And it's a different vibe that comes through here that is way more energetic, way more attention to just the people that are coming in. You get people from all walks of life that come in for this week.
Yeah, and something that I noticed this year that was a little different than in years past was a lot of groups and travelers in, groups of 4 to 8, and many of them, right? So Friday and Saturday, I remember seeing probably 6 different groups of 8 on the tee sheet traveling in from across the country. And in some years, we've gotten these, weird days where it's 2, 3, 4 groups of 16 plus. Yep. This year we didn't have that. It was the small groups, but a lot of them. Tell me, did you make it out to the Open at all this last week?
I didn't. I wish I did, but I did not.
No, you know what though? I think a lot of people in Arizona stayed away because of the last couple of years. And I wanted to talk about that. I went this year and they made some overwhelming changes, right? Last year was crazy. Not only did they get unlucky, and I think it rained three out of the whole 7-day golf experience. If you take it from Monday to Sunday, it rained on really heavily on 3 of those days. So when there's no golf going on and the number of people that participate in this event, bad things are going to happen. Yeah. Bad things are going to happen.
Boredom comes in.
Yeah, and also with the size of this event, let's talk the numbers for this. I looked this up beforehand. Daytona, which is next weekend, NASCAR's biggest race. Correct me, guests, if I'm wrong, but one of the most exciting races of the year. There are 150,000 people watching this race, and surrounding the area, I'm sure there's tons more. Yeah. This week's Super Bowl, 85,000 people at the Superdome there in New Orleans. When the Waste Management was still releasing single-day ticket numbers, the record was set on one Saturday. It may have been 2018 or 19 at 217,000 people.
That's absolutely insane.
217,000 people. And I think in years past, the ways that existed for people to get a ticket, they were numerous, they were cheap, they were easy. Yeah. The PGA Tour made some changes. So not only was the experience less hectic from a guest standpoint, they probably were more lucrative as well. So this year, what we saw was no more any day guest passes or any day tickets.
Single days.
When you bought a ticket, it was for that one day. So any leftover tickets, you were out of luck. In years past, those leftover tickets got to be used later on or handed off to somebody else. Yeah. Right? So they made massive, overwhelming changes. And from a guest experience, something to talk about too that I enjoy from a golfer and someone who loves a good time, the Waste Management Open hits both of those perfectly. Yeah. Because everyone knows it's the fun-loving, beer drinking crowd that likes to get rowdy.
Oh, yeah.
And that exists very much so around 16, 17, 18 around the golf course. But what I want to encourage the listener to do in years to come, don't be afraid of that rowdy crowd, because if you're not on 16, 17, or 18, you're going to see a beautiful golf course and one of the most one of the best shaped TPC Scottsdales that I've actually ever seen. So it was
so good.
quite the experience.
That's
You
so
and I
good.
were chatting before this, how you, the golf nerd in you, wants to go to Riv and Pebble and all of these places that have hosted these historic events.
Yeah.
And the one thing I was thinking walking around Waste Management Open, I went on Tuesday of this year, was I think this golf course is just as good as those. But the rap that TPC Scottsdale get because of the People's Open type
and they got
vibe,
that bad rep for a few
I think
years,
it
for sure.
really waters down the perception of that golf tournament. But that back nine is pretty dang good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough track. Like, you get to that backside 14 to 18, that's a tough stretch of golf.
But still unbelievable chances at
High
eagles
risk,
and
high
birdies.
reward. Yep, high
Right.
risk, high reward for sure.
13 and 15 and 17 are all very good opportunities. But then, gosh, what is it? 14, 16, 18. You got to play some golf. You got to hit some good
Quality
golf.
shots.
And apparently people are taking their shirts off and screaming topless at the top of their minds.
Crazy.
You were talking with our player assistant. Tell us some stories that you
one
heard.
of our player assistants here came up to me and he was like, "Yeah, I had a great time. I worked like 70 hours this week. Worked from Tuesday to Sunday, and worked like 70 hours. And the stories that I have are crazy stuff." And he comes into my office and tells me a story of lady ripping her shirt off, jumping into the lake. There was another one that just yelled at the top of this guy's backswing and bolted up the hill and was like yelling, "Get this guy out of here." John, our player assistant, ran up the hill and pointed at the security guard. "He's right there. You got to get him. He's right there." I'm like, that's the type of vibe and craziness that's got this tournament into such a bad place
and that's
they've
not
done-
welcome.
And they did, from what you're telling me, they did a really good job at mitigating all of those problems.
And John, he was on 17 all week, right?
Yeah, he was on 17. He
Right
was
in the
player
thick of it.
liaison is what I think it was called.
Right in the thick of it.
That's a hard.
He got to stand under the tunnel between 16 green and 17 tee and watch those shots and then follow them to 17 as they hit those shots. So
good.
he was in the thick of the party crowd. And if that happens, they find the person, they kick them out. And when you get that number of people, there's always going to be hooligans no matter where you're at, even if you are at the Rivieras and the other places.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing's not going to happen at Augusta, but Augusta also only has 40,000 guests.
Yep.
That number of people are standing on one tee box at the Waste Management Open.
Crazy.
Right? But again, that's
Sardines
just the
out there.
16, 17, 18.
Vibe
We
that
had
you
the
get.
experience on Tuesday. I, for the first time, went to the hospitality tent on 16.
Oh, how was
And
that?
it's a fun. It's a party vibe. It's an atmosphere.
That's awesome.
You're partying and hanging out and chatting with a bunch of people for like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you stop and watch a golf shot for like 30 seconds and then you go back
Right
to
back
what
to
you were
it.
doing.
That's so good.
Yeah, but that's there if that's what you want. And I think it's fantastic because that's getting 100 or hundreds of thousands of people to a golf course that would never have gone to the golf course before.
It's very true. Very true.
And the number of golfers that have a tough time teeing it up in those rowdy conditions. There's also the golfer on the flip side that says, bring it on, dude. I love it.
Ramping guys up. Yeah,
Yes.
so good.
Yeah, so awesome. So awesome. Nothing was crazier than the shot from Emiliano Grillo on Friday, though.
I didn't watch it. Well,
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, my goodness. Grillo on Friday had a hole-in-one, but not just a hole-in-one. It was just a dunk
Slam.
on the fly. And they're showing in
good.
slow motion this ball just spinning around the flagstick full speed. And everyone just went nuts.
That's awesome.
But it was also, again, much better than years past. I'm checking my memory here. It might have been Sam Ryder?
Couple
Sam
years back.
Burns, maybe Sam Ryder. I'm trying to remember. Sam Ryder might have been one of the last ones, and it got absolutely trashed. It took them 10, 15, 20 minutes to clean
Just
up.
to clean up all the beer cans.
This was like, all right, guys, we can't do that. And they did a much better job of keeping in check. But yeah, he flew it in on the fly. And then
good.
Saturday, Sunday, both had many other close calls. So I'm sure there were many people there that had a good time. But who knows? Saturday and Sunday around 16, 17, not too much golf is being watched. Like I said, golf is being watched in other areas. When I was at the hospitality tent, they had this one section I did not have a pass or ticket or the desire to go to, called The Cove. And if you browse on Instagram long enough, you'll see pictures of this with the caption, "Do these people know there's also a golf tournament going on?" Because The Cove is a full-blown club. Like picture nightclub or beach club with a DJ, and I couldn't even count the number of people. 300, 500 people around this giant dance floor. And if you look behind them, there's people walking by on the golf course. But again, it's this opportunity that's opening doors to so many people who love golf for 1 week. It may not be the same exact way that we embrace the moments, but many people got out there on the golf course, and I think that's something to celebrate and talk about.
For sure. That's a good thing. More people to get on the golf course is exactly what we need.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. The one thing that I got to nerd out a little bit that some people know a little bit about, some people don't know anything about is myself, Alex Beaverson of Between the Swings fame. We were lucky enough to tour the TaylorMade tour truck.
That's so good.
Oh my goodness.
So good. That's a nerd's paradise right there.
It was KJ's dream come true.
Yeah.
I've been a golf gearhead since I've been in the game. And the tour truck, to explain to someone, this is TaylorMade, the equipment company's semi-truck that is filled with all of their equipment, but it's a mobile golf factory. And they are there to build any product at a moment's notice for any golfer that's participating in this event.
Adjusting grinds, adjusting swing weight, anything that you can think of, they'll adjust it for that player.
You said it. Not just making that product, but someone says, "Oh, hey, this golf course has a lot more dogleg lefts than right. I'm going to take it in, and they're going to, adjust my driver with me." Or
it's playing a lot more firm on these grounds, so I need something that's a lower bounce that's not going to dig, or higher bounce that's not going to dig as much.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. That truck's wild.
A lot of wedge changes every week, a lot of driver and fairway wood changes every week, just to make sure they're hitting the exact trajectory that they want. Some courses, they might want a lower trajectory because it's not as firm, but some they want to hit it as high as possible because they want that ball to stop because it's super firm and fast. So to sit there and chat, there's one gentleman by the name of Wade Lyles. He's been the man on this tour truck for as long as I can remember, and he was just telling stories of what the guys come in and they're looking for and they're testing out. He was telling us guys like Rory, fresh set of wedges every time he tees it up.
I mean, it totally makes sense.
Because Rory is hitting a wedge so perfect every time that if it's not a brand new wedge, it's not going to produce the spin numbers that he wants.
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to hit the golf ball remotely close to 2 times the same in one round of golf. If I can do that, I'm happy.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I just want it to go up, forwards, and that way.
That's
so
right.
it's
just tells you the level of precision, right? You go from guys that are just playing recreational golf that just want to put it in play to the top high end that's like, I need fresh grooves every week because I want to see that ball do this, hit ground, check, and spin.
It's the tools of the trade.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And the one thing that they can do every week, they've got 14 clubs and they can make adjustments to those clubs to change their game instead of trying to change anything physically about their body. One funny story about these guys chasing perfection, when you think of TaylorMade, you think of people who have a TaylorMade bag, right? Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa. Those names are going to come to the forefront of your mind. But most of these guys who have contracts, it's about a 12 or a 10 club contract.
Yeah.
Some guys who are getting the big bucks, it might be a 13 club contract. And they're always giving these guys the freedom to chase after one special club. And that's likely because they need that one club to help them participate in that one tournament. And the one club that we talked about at length in the tour truck was the mini driver.
Really?
Yeah. So not only is it a cool thing that when you produce one product, every other manufacturer then comes out with their own version of that product.
I mean,
You've done something right.
Yeah, they're on the forefront of that all the time.
You've done something right.
Yeah.
So they come out with the mini driver. Everybody else is now trying to produce that mini driver.
Yep.
They still had one staff bag of probably 10 to 15 mini drivers. And I just have this, picture in my mind of all of the names on these, and you wouldn't even know who it is, right? And one of the guys is Wyndham Clark, this Titleist guy through and through, and he plays the TaylorMade mini driver. And at Pebble, he told the guys, "This is it. This one's perfect. It's exactly what I need." And what happens the very next week when he shows up to Waste Management Open, he's asking the guys to build him another one just to see if he can make it even better.
That's crazy.
Right? So he's found perfection and he's already chasing something even better. Another crazy story is a guy like Dustin, who, news just came out yesterday that TaylorMade and Dustin did not come to an agreement. He is now officially a free agent, so he did not re-sign with TaylorMade. But when he was with TaylorMade and the guys on the tour truck would make him 50 to 70 drivers a year.
That is insane. I mean, just from the fact of cracks, I mean, are we talking just specific specs for each
more
golf
chasing
course?
perfection, chasing perfection and willingness to try new product. That's
good
one
on him.
thing that
Good on him.
that if you look over a long period of time, DJ's changing shafts all the time.
Assume nothing, test everything. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If a rep walks up to him on the driving range and says, "You're playing this shaft, we think ours is going to perform a little bit better for you. Why don't you try it?"
Yeah, let's see that ball flight.
He'll take that shaft to the guys in the tour truck and say, "They just gave me this shaft. Go ahead and put your head on it. I'm going to go hit it." And they'll test it right there in real life for life situations and see how it performs. So just
so good.
The scrutiny and level of testing that these guys put into their product, it blew my mind, and my golf nerd mind was just going nuts the whole time.
Did any of the players come into the truck while you were there?
No. We were there on Tuesday, so a lot of the guys were out, grinding on the golf course already. Most of the time we were there. What time was I there? I think I was in the truck by about 11 or 12 o'clock. And by then they just had a row of all of their builds for the day. So when we left, they were gonna, start building all of their products. I was trying to remember who it was. Someone had a new Spider. Man, I'm trying to remember. It might have been someone like Daniel Berger or something like that was, trying out a brand new Spider, and that build sheet was up there. So just to look at it and you see all the specs, and it's like this guy takes this putter and then makes these 15 changes to it to fit his exact swing. And it just goes to show that once you care about the game and you play enough of it, care about your tools. Put time and effort into your equipment, right? Because these guys certainly are. It's their livelihoods.
Like you said, it's the only thing that's interchangeable, right? I mean, why not change something that's going to suit what you do, what your body moves like, instead of changing your body to fit the golf club, right? We talked about that with Chad Dietz last time I was on, is changing your body and the way it moves is way harder than changing just a club in your hand. And just, that's so good. I love that DJ's a free agent now. I'm super curious on where he goes next.
It'd be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I think Ricky was another move. They didn't re-sign him for his golf ball. Jason Day is another one who is a free agent, but Jason is still playing almost a full set of TaylorMade clubs. It was so unique to be in that environment and just chat and talk to people.
That's so good.
Let's switch gears and chat video games for a second.
Oh, all right.
Did you grow up playing video games at all?
Absolutely. I was a PGA Tour 2005. Like I played that game.
2005.
Yeah, I was on that game so much. I played that game way too long.
I say it to so many people that I've met. I don't know if I would be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for the Tiger Woods video games.
Right.
Right. And what comes to mind why we're talking about it is PGA Tour 2K25 is coming out or was just announced this week at the Waste Management Open, right? So I think the 28th at the end of the month is when the game launches. One cool thing that they allowed people to do, if you pre-purchased the game, you could play the back nine at the Waste Management, like while you're watching it on TV.
That's so cool.
So super, super cool.
Yeah.
But again, just the golf nerd in me, not only did the presence of golf in the video game realm make it like acceptable and cool for someone like me, you know, born in 92 to go out and play golf. I also grew up playing any other sports games that I can get my hand on, right? I was playing baseball from the time that I could walk. And so golf wasn't this game that was cool or fun or exciting. And I think video games or the presence of a Tiger Woods video game may have been the first thing in my life that kind of made it something that I accepted.
Yeah, accepted for you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That made it cool that you weren't going to be shy to tell your friends, yeah, I play golf like every day. It's awesome. But you should try it too. It's, for me, it was, I grew up playing golf, so it wasn't like I was that weird kid that always just was at the golf course, but all my friends were like, why do you play this game? So when PGA Tour came out, it was like people were at my house playing the game, wanted to go play golf. I got a couple buddies into golf, so changes the world for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think we talked about that with TGL. I think that's going to get a lot of the video game guys that get into golf. So I'm super excited for that as well.
Right? I mean, Top Golf, when that came into the scene, that got clubs in the hands of people that would never consider the game of golf. And TGL is doing the same thing. Do I think it's getting a club in the hand of someone at a TGL venue? No, maybe not. But, you know, a gamer or someone who's interested in tech or someone who doesn't have access to 100 acres, you know, just has access to this small area. There absolutely is this hybrid climate or hybrid environment where the game of golf is likely going to exist in the future.
For sure.
And the one thing that's so cool about the video game too is if you happen to have ever played, or if you do play, pay attention to what you're doing in the game. Because you are going to learn so much about the game of golf.
That's right.
I think I learned more about how the lie impacts your total yardage or the starting flight or starting direction of a golf ball because of playing that game. You know, when you're a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid and you're standing on a lie and you hit the ball, you might not understand the physics or understand why that happened. But this video game is, you know, it's showing you every time you're on a side hill lie, this little arrow is pointing in a weird direction. Well, why exactly is that happening? You know, so this game has everything. This game is so unbelievably realistic. If you move your thumbstick in the wrong direction just a little bit, your ball is going to draw or fade based on that. So I did spend a little bit of time playing it after I put the kid down, you know, last week. So no, it's. I want to encourage people to play the game, learn from the game, and hopefully get you outside playing golf too. I think the one thing I've got in the back of my mind, and maybe there's a listener out there that can help me make it happen, I want to put Superstition in the game.
No, that would be
I
cool.
want players at home to be like, I'm logging on and I'm going to play Superstition Springs from my Xbox, my PlayStation, my PC, you name it. We want to make that happen. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
that would be really cool. Yeah, or even like you have a PlayStation upstairs in our game room, and it's like before or after your round, you and the gang,
All right.
Play around a golf
play.
at that golf course that you just played. So they have that in the game too. A crazy amount of golf courses that have been scanned or built
into it,
even by professionals or even amateurs that will go in and build or custom build their own golf courses. So there is so much going on in that game, and it bridges the gap in so many different communities, and it's something we're excited about for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. I'm excited to see what it's going to hold.
Yeah. I mean, it's a game that at one point it bared Tiger's name.
Yep.
Something that I wanted to talk about, something that caught my mind or it caught my eye yesterday. We have the Genesis Open coming up this week.
Yeah.
So Torrey Pines is playing host for the second time in a young 2025 season. And it's Tiger's tournament. He's the host of this event to the PGA Tour. And he withdrew yesterday.
Yeah.
And he withdrew. And Tiger Woods won a U.S. Open on a broken leg. And that's not a figure of speech, like actually a broken leg. The guy comes back from surgeries faster than he's supposed to.
Yep.
He just doesn't accept pain as a speed bump or a roadblock. But he lost his mom. And he can't play golf this week.
Yeah.
And that shook me.
Yeah.
That shook me so hard. I mean, here's this guy who won't let anything stop him. And he said in his quote, he says, I tried to prepare because it's something that my mom would want me to do.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that she had him do when we lost Earl Woods or when he lost his dad.
Yeah.
Right. And he went out there and he grinded to become this version of himself that he wanted to be. And without his mom, he didn't find the strength to do that. And he had to step aside. And that is something that caught me off guard.
Yeah. It tells you a story of the physical pain that you feel has this much weight compared to the emotional pain that you can feel from losing somebody so close to you.
And someone that like the whole golfing world has put on a pedestal. We quite literally put him on the Mount Rushmore of golf.
Yeah.
And we have to see him go through this. Or not have to, but we get to.
Yeah.
We get to. And to see him, choose that and step aside and be with his family, it's something that really, to me, showed something that I haven't seen in Mr. Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah,
I have a lot of
absolutely.
respect for that. And I wish him the best. And, thinking about him and his family and the loss of his mom, Kultida Woods. But that was big news in the golf world.
It was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge. Prayers go out to that family because losing somebody is always so hard. So I'm glad that be able to see that they're coming together and take some time to
that happens.
Really heal.
That happens in our life, and we can act like dirty laundry and crawl up into a hamper and sit there for a day or two.
Yep.
Tiger Woods doesn't necessarily get to do that. He had to try and prepare for a golf tournament. So, no, man, it's just a reminder to provide grace and empathy to everybody in the world, no matter who they're going through. Or no matter what they're going through. But I'm interested to see how Torrey Pines is going to play. Right, a little bit different weather than they had the last week, and it's one of the meccas of golf just outside of San Diego. So we'll have to see how that is.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the difference in wind. I mean, when they played there last time, that was an impossible golf course to play in that high wind. So hopefully we can see some low scores going into this one. That'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's what we're looking forward to for Torrey Pines. We just survived, what we had for our crazy, crazy weekend. And so now it's just eyes forward to the rest of a beautiful spring season here in the Phoenix market and welcoming even more golfers and having a great time on the golf course. So, Steph, thanks for joining me today and chatting for a short period of time. Friends, thanks for listening at home. We will join you again soon. Stay tuned. Be well. And don't forget to embrace the moments.